Okay. All right. I think we're going to get started now. Welcome, everybody here. We're so close to spring break, so we know that it's hard to show up at a strange time, but um, we're really glad you are. I want to introduce myself and introduce my colleagues. My name is Diane Berry. I'm one of the school counselors, and I work with students whose last names end with A through HA. And who else is here? Maurice, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was going to go by alphabet.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Brianna.
I'm Brianna or Bree, and I work with students' last names H, E through N.
And I'm Maurice Montero, counselor for alphabet O through Z.
And I'm Jen Marsden. I am the College and Career Specialist at AHS.
All right. So before we get going, as you notice, our title of our presentation is Supporting Our Students with Sound Decisions. We believe, obviously, that the more information that we can share with our students, the more grounded their decisions are. And as you know, your juniors already know a lot about the high school experience, but they are moving on to their final year in high school, which is an especially critical year. So we want to make sure, again, they have as much information as possible when they're choosing their classes and also thinking about their post-secondary paths. So moving on.
Okay, so hello everyone. Tonight, hopefully after the presentation and during it, you'll understand a few things, beginning with your student's transcript and graduation requirements. You'll learn about your student's personal education plan and score account, recognize your student's four-year plan, get familiar with the Ashland High School Catalog, watch a video about the career technical education electives, know how your student will complete their 11th grade forecasting form for next year. Okay, so let's start with this transcript. I feel it's very important to understand this for students and parents as well. They can be very confusing. For some students, it just looks like a bunch of courses and numbers and doesn't make sense to them. If you do know how to read the transcript, just bear with me. I'm going from a basic level approach with this and building up on it. So basically, when you're looking at this example, it's a transcript for a senior student. And so you can see there's a lot of courses completed on there. Some things that you want to make sure when you're looking at your child's transcript is make sure the information is correct on the top left. Make sure the graduating class, the year is correct. And if you notice that excuse me, in this example, a couple of things to pick out. We'll start at the top left of the course list. Couple of things that you might notice or might not notice in your child's transcript. Certain courses taken in middle school transfer over to as high school credit. And in this example, I apologize for not making it bigger. Hopefully you can see that. The student took Spanish 1, okay? Both semesters, that shows up first. Underneath that, you can see that it begins with grade 9 for the first semester. And then going on to second semester for grade 9. Below that is first semester grade 10, second semester grade 10. Going on into the middle column, you can see the beginning of grade 11. And here's the nuance that you're going to notice. At some point, every student was impacted by the shutdowns last year due to COVID and the pandemic. So what happened is, and I can attest to this, I came from Clark County School District in Nevada. We did the same thing. Students' transcripts looked the same way. That semester, that pattern of semester 1, semester 2 was broken up by a quarter. And we were talking about this as a department earlier today. What basically happened, there are a lot of reasons, one of them being that no one really knew how long it was going to last. So they broke it up into a quarter. And then when that progressed into, the end of the school year, it was given as a fourth quarter grade and credit accruement. And then if you look below that, and I'll get into that a little further as I go into the next slide so you can see that better, some of the course breakdowns. You'll see the first semester of 12th grade. So looking at a little more blown up version of that same example, like I explained earlier, Spanish 1, semester 1. And if you look at that, there's a couple of things you can pick up on, and I'll let you know what that is. If you look at Ashland Middle School, grade 8, S1, S1 stands for semester 1. You have the year that that was completed. If you look at FAA, that stands for Fine and Applied Arts. So that Spanish one fulfills that graduation requirement. In parentheses, once again, it indicates that that was semester 1 class. Grade was given as an A- and credit earned was 1. Looking below that, once again, FAA, Spanish 1, parentheses, S2 for semester 2, once again, 1 credit. And how I like to explain it to the students is that the easiest way to understand this credit system is look at it as money earned. As just like a job, you get paid 2 weeks. Well, there's 2 semesters in the year. You get paid at the end of the first half and the end of the second half. So you get paid $1 for every semester that you pass a course. The goal is to get $50. That's what earns you your diploma. So that's what you're looking for, like buying a new car, putting a down payment on a house. You're looking to buy that diploma. So just look at it as money. It's a lot easier to understand that way. So looking below Spanish, looking into their first semester of grade 9, HE1 stands for health, which was wellness. Looking below that, EN stands for English. So that once again, those codes kind of help you look when you look at a certain other part of the transcript to understand where it's going. And so going further down, I'm sorry, my throat is dry. That's why I keep clearing it. Looking further down at the second column, once again, you can see it blown up, that example of the COVID shutdown was happening during that time. So instead of the normal pattern of 1 credit earned per semester, it was given as a half credit. So if you look at that second block, state COVID closure, Ashland High School, you can see Algebra 2, Semester 2, a P for pass, half credit. Looking further down in the next block, you can see Algebra 2 again, Semester 2, half credit. So in a sense, that credit was earned for the second semester, was just broken up in half. And then once again, going further down, you can see the 12th grade, Semester 1 courses that were given this year for this particular student. Okay.
Okay, I just want to make a quick comment because I know you all are junior parents and some of your students will be applying to private colleges next year. On the private college common application, there is a portion of that now that allows every school to describe how they handled that Q3, Q4 of last spring in terms of grades. And I'm imagining they'll do the same thing for this year. So there is a kind of a national recognition of this unusual time and a place for us to kind of describe in more detail what our marks mean and why we chose to use them in the way we did.
Okay, now this is an important section of your child's transcript as well. So question, how many credits do you need to earn to graduate? As I stated earlier, 50 credits. If you look at this section of the transcript on the left-hand side, there's those codes I was explaining earlier, the EN for English, GS for Global Studies, HS for History. Looking at the top row, English, going across, what's required to graduate is 8. And if you look at above the 8, it's REQ means required credits for each subject. So if you go down that column, it'll list every single credit that's required for graduation in each particular subject. And at the bottom, the total is 50. Looking at the next row, CMP means completed. This particular example, the student completed 7 credits of the English requirement. Going down that entire row, actually completed 51 credits. The student actually earned more. But the interesting part is if you look at that last row, DEF, deficient, what do they still need to graduate? Even though the student has more than required credits to graduate, they haven't completed all the credits in the required subjects. So 1 credit still needed left in English. If you keep going down that row, everything else is 0 except for 1 for service learning. So this year's seniors service learning is waived, so that's not needed. And so in this particular example, there's 2 credits left, but in reality, it's only 1. So once again, you have to kind of compare the different columns to see what's required, what's completed, and what's still needed. So next slide, please.
Yeah, I'm going to add one more thing, Maurice.
Go for it. Yep.
Just because this is a junior group here, I do want to mention, you see that senior project up there at the top, and the senior project actually has been waived for our upcoming seniors, your juniors right now. So that actually will not be a requirement. And your service learning for your students is only 25 hours for the graduating class of 2022.
Okay, so going over semester and cumulative GPA, this is another question a lot of students ask about. There's two different types of GPA, unweighted GPA and weighted GPA. Looking at the first number, 3.46 is unweighted, which is basically a raw score. For each letter grade given, there's a value system or a point system given to that letter grade. You take all those together and divide it by the number of courses, and that's how you get your average for the GPA. Weighted GPA is extra points or value added to every advanced placement or AP course taken that a student takes. So that's why you get a different GPA, raw versus added weight based on courses taken over the course of 4 years. So looking at that, it's broken by grade level and by semester. So looking at the first example, grade 9, semester 1, the GPA was 3.28. Semester 2, it was 3.31. And if you look below that, you can see like the variations of how well that student did per grade level per semester. So what we like to ask the students is, especially with the high GPA per semester, for whatever grade level, what were the things that you were doing that year? What were the skill sets that you were employing? What were the habits? And so you kind of want to stress that and reflect on that and kind of try to use that and expand on those skill sets. One of the examples that we were talking about earlier, if you don't mind, Diane, we were talking about, a particular student and how she wasn't reaching out to her teacher to ask for help. And so once that was established, her grades went up. So sometimes it's simple habits, sometimes it's a little more complex, but you want to kind of reflect on that. And then also, why was your GPA so low this particular semester? What was going on in your life at that point? And sometimes it's things out of their control. So that's how you kind of look at that. The other thing we would like to look at is your target GPA, especially for students going into their junior year, but also their senior year, because colleges still look at their senior grades. What kind of GPA do you want to get this semester and next semester and overall this year? So that's kind of the things that we want students to look at.
I'm going to add one more thing, Maurice.
Go for it, Diane. I'm glad you're
Just jumping in here for these junior parents and students, and we're talking to students about the same issues. We know that juniors next year will apply to their colleges and universities and programs based on their cumulative GPA that they achieved at the end of their junior year. So what we really encourage juniors to do is, set those goals for this final, it's not a final semester, but it's the semester, again, that will kind of launch their applications. As Marie said, continuing to work hard on that GPA is important because juniors can, seniors next year, earn merit aid based on that first semester senior year GPA, and then sometimes even all the way up to the final semester. But that semester senior year is really important too, especially in our state schools where those cutoffs are very clear in terms of the 3 different tiers of merit aid, which can make a big difference, thousands of dollars over the 4 years of time.
Okay, and so looking at, thanks Diane, by the way, looking at grade points and essential skills, once again, like I talked about earlier, certain letter grades give you a certain point system. So if you look across the row in that one block, A equals a 4.0, A minus equals a 3.7, B plus 3.3, and so on and so on. The only misnomer or typo, I guess you can say, is that the very right is the P for pass. That's not actually a 0.0. It has no value to it. An F is actually a 0.0, so that's not correct. So for a pass, it doesn't raise your GPA or lower it. That was one of the reasons you see a lot of passes as far as grades, per se letter grades in some of the COVID semesters. Essential skills measured by the SBAC test during junior year. And I think we talked about this, Diane, but I don't remember exactly because of COVID, juniors are waived for SBAC. Is that correct?
It is waived, yep, because we're not administering that. So the essential skills are waived. And the reason I wanted to show this particular student is that it's kind of strange and confusing because you see that this student has met. But part of that, even though they didn't take the SBAC last year, part of that is that we have cut scores derived from the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT. So this student actually met reading and math through the PSAT. So these aren't necessary. So when your student's transcript, when you look at it and you see it does not matter that they have not met, because that is not going to be a graduation requirement for them. Alrighty. All right, Jen, are there any questions at this point before we move on to the next section?
No questions yet.
All right. One last thing, Brianna, before you get going. I will let everyone know all of your juniors received a copy of their transcript last week, attached to one of the numerous emails that we sent out. We've probably sent them 3 or 4 in the last week, and there was a transcript attached to one of them, and it's from Stephen Essig. If for some reason they didn't find it, Stephen Essig is one of our kind of miracle workers in the main office, and he found a way to confidentially send out transcripts to all of our students so that they could actually know what they were thinking about in terms of their choices for classes next year. All right.
I guess
Go
one
ahead.
thing I do want to mention, since we're on GPA, just for students who are looking at community college to
Yep.
be eligible for the Oregon Promise Grant, which is a great boost for a lot of families to help make community college affordable for all Oregonians. You have to have a minimum GPA of 2.5. And we verify students apply for the Oregon Promise in the fall. It's a very quick 5-minute application online that I take students through in CCR. And if they have a 2.5 at the end of first semester, we go into a portal and verify they have a 2.5 or above. And if they don't have a 2.5, if they're a little below that, students have until the end of the school year to get up to a 2.5. So that's really important. If your senior is hovering in that range and they get a good case of senioritis next year and they're thinking community college, remind them they need to keep their GPA up to keep it above that 2.5. Really
And
important.
Jen, how much is that Oregon Promise worth?
So, it depends on the family's income. Up until last year, there was no financial cap for the Oregon Promise, so a family could make $1 million a year, and the state still gave that student $3,750 towards their community college tuition each year. Last year, they did put in a cap for those people who are familiar with FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. The cap they put in last year was an expected family contribution of $22,000, which is a pretty high EFC, estimated a family of 4 making over $100,000, $115,000 a year. Hoping they will take away the cap this year, or the cap will go higher so that, middle income families who are really counting on that money to help their student go to community college will be able to access it, but they haven't given information on that yet.
All right.
And then someone said they didn't receive their student's transcript, or their student didn't receive it. How can they get it?
They can email their counselor and we can send them a copy.
There's a question about SATs and colleges next year. What I'm hearing from most colleges, it will still be optional for students who will be seniors next year. We're offering the SAT and ACT, but very limited seats, and colleges are aware that a lot of students won't have the opportunity to take the SAT or ACT, or take it as many times as they'd like.
All right, Brianna.
Okay. So, as we're getting ready to finish up junior year and transition into senior year, it's really a great time to start thinking about your student's path after high school. And I just want to emphasize that, these presentations and, connecting with Jen or connecting with the counselors, participating in the advisory lessons, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the next couple slides. It's really important for your student, even if they aren't planning on attending a 4-year university. So if they're, thinking about an apprenticeship, vocational or trade schools, the military, if they're thinking about maybe taking a gap year, working, saving up some money, or, just going straight into the workforce. We are here to help them with those plans. And then also as the parent and guardian and family, just helping guide them through that process is really, really important. All right, so what we have been doing on our side is connecting with students during the advisory lessons, and every junior received a score count. And the score count is a college and career learning platform, and there are a lot of useful tools and resources to explore different colleges and see what might be a good fit. So that's something that we encourage you to ask your student about, and they can show you what their results were from that. And then another assessment tool that we've used and the juniors have completed is called UScience. And UScience is really, really cool. It also has a lot of cool resources. It will tell your student their aptitudes and interest, what their strengths are, and give them some options for best fit careers, and also finding a college. Can you go to the next slide, Diane? Yeah, thank you. So as you can see from this slide, it shows some possible careers that would work well for this particular student. And it's cool because it shows the average salary, it shows projected available jobs. So just a lot of super great information that can help guide your child. If they have no idea what they're wanting to do, this could help guide them with that process.
Yeah, Brianna, I just want to jump in here and give this a real plug to all of you out there. This is really a wonderful tool. It does take students about an hour and a half to complete it. So far out of our class of 200 and I guess 30 odd, we have about 130 students who have completed it, another 60 who've started. If your student hasn't finished it or needs to get on and start it, we strongly encourage you to encourage them. Having access to something like this is really quite wonderful. What you don't know is as you tab or click into all of these strong fit careers, you can really dig down into them. What we know is our students, are living in a really small valley, and we're not exposed to kind of the breadth of career opportunities that are out there for them. And what this tool does is it really aligns those strong kind of hardwired skills that they have along with their interests. And then it predicts good fit careers. So at the least, it is material for really robust conversations at home about evolving interests.
Okay, thanks, Diane. And so students also completed their personal education plan or their PEP. And obviously you can see what it looks like in that picture. And we asked them to consider the strengths that showed on the results of their PEP, to think about what classes might be a good match to those strengths as far as forecasting for next year. Okay, and then we also had them complete a 4-year graduation planning guide. So for the juniors this year, they really only had to complete grade 12. Some of them might have filled out the entire thing, which is totally fine, but we were just asking them really to focus on grade 12. And then once they completed that form, they would upload it to My Drive on their score account, and then email a copy to their counselor. And then we asked them also to CC their parent or guardian. So you might have seen this pop through your email. If you haven't, I think that would be like a great conversation to have with your student, asking them where that is.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our catalog. And I know some of you probably think that this might not be as relevant because your students may have already forecasted their classes, but it is. We have all sorts of information packed into this catalog this year, and we're really, really excited that for the first time in the 6 years I've been here, it's actually accurate. So I feel confident recommending it. And one of our silver linings to our COVID period of time is that we've been supported with moving it to a digital format. So students now, parents, guardians can all have very easy access to this 50-page catalog, and you can navigate it very easily also. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and just show you a quick video about navigating the catalog. We showed this video to students today so that they'd feel confident engaging in the catalog. We know that, again, as they move on to whatever post-secondary path they might be moving toward, they will also be navigating catalogs. I do also want to emphasize that even if your student submitted their forecasting form today, you are able to now kind of look up the courses that they chose. If students, for some reason, think, maybe I want to change that one class, that English selected that I picked, they can still do that by submitting a new forecasting form. So if you still want to have that discussion around some of the choices they've made, that's absolutely fine. All right, here we go. This is going to show you a little bit of our catalog. Okay, here is our brand new 2021-2022 Ashland High School course guide. We wanted to take you through a quick tour of this just to show you how easy it is to navigate and to encourage you to use it to answer questions throughout the year. Not just questions about course selection, but questions about all sorts of things. So as we come down to the table of contents, we're going to start out moving over to graduation requirements here on our left. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And as you see, we come right to page 8 on graduation requirements. So if you ever need to review those, here they are. All right, as we've described before, there's a return to table of contents right up here at the top right hand corner. We're going to click that and return to the table of contents. All right, now if we want to look down here for early college credit classes, we're going to click that, and here we come to page 17. And this gives us a list of all of our classes that will earn you both a high school graduation credit and a college credit. Once again, we return to our table of contents. And now we're going to scroll down through all these different subject areas. We're going to start in on our departments, our course departments, so that we can explore a few classes. I think we'll take a look at Stage Management Theater Arts. Here we are, Stage Management Theater Arts. What we find out about this is that it's a one-semester class. There's a prerequisite. That means that Ms. Bishop needs to check in with you and make sure it's an appropriate class for you, and you can earn college credit for it. Let's return to the table of contents and check out a few other classes. Let's go down to, let's see, I think we're going to go down to Mechanics 3. All right, there's Mechanics 3. It's a full year class, not a semester long class, and it is also eligible for college credit. Okay, let's return again. Let's check out some science courses now. Scrolling down, all of this is in alphabetical order, so your departments are also listed in alphabetical order. So if we go down this far, here's our science. There's AP Biology, AP Environmental, Anatomy and Physiology. Scrolling back up to this side of the page, Biochem, Chemistry. Let's look at Biochemistry. Here's Biochemistry. What we find out about this class is that you need to have completed biology and chemistry with a B or higher to be able to enroll in it. All right, let's go to our English selectives. Since you are all choosing one of those classes, two of those classes, we're going to go down to, oops, I think I passed it. That's under Language Arts. Here we are, and here's all of our English selectives. AP English, AP Lit, Literature of Resistance, and so on and so on. Politics and Lit. Let's check out Politics and Lit. All right, here we go. Politics and Lit, a full year class. And I'm not sure why it doesn't say it up there, but right down here, you're going to see SOU Advanced Credit is offered for this course. So again, you can, if you enroll in a class like this, you'll earn college credit. All right, I think you get the idea. Extremely easy to use this catalog. You can research 4, 5, 6, 7 classes in no time at all and make some really good decisions. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to leaf through a 50-page paper catalog. Okay, so that's the end of our catalog. Okay. All right, thank you for enduring that. We do want to highlight that for juniors, moving into seniors, just like sophomore and junior year this year, those students, all students will receive a math and science recommendations. So there's a little less choice involved in these classes. Math, they're recommended for one course that's based on their level. Science, they're usually recommended for 2, sometimes 3 courses that would be appropriate fits for them. You all are also familiar with English selectives. I don't know if all parents are, but students certainly are because they took one this year, which means it's almost like an English elective. They get to choose amongst, as I already mentioned in that little video, a number of classes. Students last week watched videos. We had the teachers record anywhere from a minute to a 3-minute video describing their class. Students watched that in their advisory class so that they might have a better idea of what was involved in terms of the content, the pace, the rigor. Those videos will be posted on our website tomorrow. This was the video. Moving through that, students also last week watched a video on CTE classes offered at Ashland High School, career technical education. These classes often have a lot more relevance to immediate applied work or 2-year trade programs, apprenticeships, really excellent classes to explore. Many of them offer college credit. I'm going to go ahead and show you the video that we showed our students right now. Whoops, sorry about that. We're going to go back and now we're going to play it.
CTE is the best part of the school day.
Learn and apply new skills in project-based classrooms.
Become passionate about something at school.
Career technical education is probably the most valuable thing we can impart on the high school level.
It's a creative outlet for energy that you have, and it's where you can learn really useful skills that you use your whole life as a hobby or even a career.
I have to say, I think this video makes me look forward to getting back to school in person more than just about anything. When I see all of that hands-on interaction, it's so exciting. All right, so as we kind of wind up, we just wanted to mention a few of our newer electives. We forecasted for a number of new electives last year that we then had to cancel because they weren't aligned kind of with distance learning enough to offer them. So here's just a quick list of some more electives that that are new, and some of them may be happening this year and some are being forecasted for next year. We also are really excited because there's a brand new district office level website kind of manager. And so he is working with us to get our website updated, which actually it's going to look really different right after spring break, I learned today. But we are getting some material included in the website. If you do want to look at the course catalog, it's under academics. Your AP class videos are now stored under academics. The English selective videos will be uploaded tomorrow. And under counseling services, you'll see an overview of the forecasting process. All right, so this is.
Hey, Diane.
Yeah.
There's a question which came up last night, and it'd probably be good just to address for everyone. It's about the California state.
Oh, yeah.
The
Okay.
UCs and the California state schools. So for those of you who don't know, the California state schools have one requirement that we don't have in the Oregon Public University system, and it's the Visual and Performing Arts requirement, VPA. And they don't approve Oregon or out-of-state schools as meeting that requirement. But what it is they want students to have 2 semesters of visual or performing arts classes in the same subject area. So either 2 visual arts, like mixed media foundations and a drawing and painting, or 2 theater classes, or 2 music classes, 2 choir classes, 2 graphic design classes. What doesn't count, at least as far as we know, because they won't approve our classes and our instructors to see if our classes will meet the VPA requirements need to align with classes that are posted on the California school system about these courses, are what they consider craft classes. So woods, glass and graphics, fiber arts. We used to have jewelry design, that did not count. So I don't know if it's in the catalog now. It used to be in the catalog or on the cheat sheets. They would say meets California VPA requirements. Diane, is that still in the catalog?
Actually, I'm not sure either. So if it's not, we're going to need to get it in there.
Yeah, so if anyone has questions, and honestly, I've never had a student rejected from a California school because they didn't have those classes, or they said the classes that they had on their AHS transcript didn't meet the VPA requirements. I think they're pretty lenient, most of the California state schools, with out-of-state students, but I would never want a student not to get in because they didn't take 2 classes in the visual or performing arts, and that's why they were denied. So if you or your students have questions about this because they haven't taken a class or 2 classes that you think fits in to this subject area, and their dream is to go to Berkeley or UCLA or Chico State, shoot me an email or check in with your student's counselor and we can discuss it.
Okay, and something else I realize right now, Jen, is I don't have the right forecasting form up here, but that's okay. That's all right.
You want me to pull up the right one?
It's all right, because we're going to go on to the little demo and people will be able to see that. So the 12th grade forecasting form looks just a little bit different. Yours, about half of the juniors have filled it out so far. We're going to walk you through again a real quick just video demonstration. Whenever we introduce something brand new, we find that even if it seems simple and intuitive, it's always good to kind of share a solid example, because Adolescents are especially likely to assure us that they know exactly what's going on and exactly how to do something. And lo and behold, they skip through things, don't really read directions thoroughly at times, and have to loop back around. So we do really want your students using their graduation planning form to guide their decisions or their choices on the forecasting form. We've really encouraged them to read the directions carefully, take their time. That fourth item down there, which seems kind of strange, but we do have students select additional electives. They're called alternate electives, just because sometimes not all electives actually get enough forecasted, they don't get enough students to forecast for it, so we can't actually hold it. And in that case, we have to move to the next alternate elective. We are not having students sign up for TA, school to work, internship, or throw or catalyst on the forecasting form. We're doing that outside of the forecasting form. So again, excuse the 11th grade. I just didn't transfer it over from last night's presentation, but it does the same job. So this will give you a quick idea how it works. Okay, sophomores, here is your new 11th grade digital forecasting form. I'm going to really quickly fill it out with you so that you understand how it works and what classes you really need to take and what classes you have choices about. All right, so we start out with something really simple. Your last name. I'm going to go ahead and use my name. And then your first name, not the other way around. And the reason is that we're going to alphabetize all of our scheduling requests by your last name. We want to follow that by your phone number. This is kept completely confidential, but we do need to call you sometimes if there's a conflict with a class or we need to discuss another choice for you. Number 4, here are the following classes are required for all 11th graders: an English selective, a math, a science, and a family health. Okay, so you watched a lot of videos about English selectives being offered next year. That was in your last week's forecasting class. You can also read about them in your catalog. But let's go down and choose. I am going to go ahead and choose Shakespearean and dramatic literature as my first choice. And as my second choice, we didn't mention this to you in the graduation planning guide, but you do need an alternate for your English. I am going to choose literature through sociology. All right. My current math teacher has recommended a math, so I'm just going to choose what they've already told me I should be taking, which is Algebra 2. Moving down to science, my science teachers also recommended 2 classes for me. I'm going to choose AP Bio, because that's what I'm most interested in. I could actually take a second science if I wanted, but given my class schedule and how full it is, I'm not going to. I am going to take another year of world language. I'm trying to improve my Spanish, so I'm going to take Spanish 4. And I'd like to take care of my PE class, my second PE credit that I need. And I think I'm going to take competitive games. All right. I wish I played an instrument. I'm going to pretend I do and sign up for wind ensemble. All right, so at this point, I've gotten down to the elective section. I've actually already filled up my schedule with the wind ensemble elective, the world language elective, the PE, and the family health is kind of taking up those extra spaces. However, I actually still need to select alternate electives. And yes, I do need to select 6 of them. So I love art, so I'm going to start out with Art 1 as my first alternate. I'm going to move down to Child Psychology and Development, because that's also an interest of mine, as my second elective alternate. Then, I think you probably noticed this now, all these electives are in alphabetical order. I think I would like to take Culinary 1 As my next elective, I'm going to move quickly, maybe a little engineering. Then we still have to pick another one, fiber arts. Oops, one more. I know this seems like a lot, but just bear with it and it'll be done in no time. Interior design. Okay, do I want to take any outside of the day elective classes? Actually, I do. These aren't classes that we sign up for, but we are going to indicate our interest in them so that your counselor knows when they're putting your schedule together next year that they can keep this in mind. I'm going to sign up for school to work because I have a job and I'd like to get elective credit for it. I am not applying for the Catalyst program, and I don't have special circumstances at this point that need to be described. I'm going to submit it. It's done. It is that simple. Just okay. All right. I just want to apologize. I had a whole little recording for the senior form, and I'm disappointed, but I think this is the result of just a marathon of really long days. I do want to point out that for seniors, senior required courses that will that are described on that forecasting form are in English. All seniors have to take an English selective. All seniors have to take a CCR, that's a career and college readiness class, and an economics, one semester of each. In place of that, they can choose AP macroeconomics. AP macroeconomics entails some CCR homework over the summer and then a full year of the AP macroeconomics curriculum. So you're kind of getting basically 1.5, classes in the space of one. The other class that is required your senior year is a semester of government. For students who've already taken AP government during their junior year, they do not need to take government. AP government also obviously qualifies for that semester long of government. If they do take AP government, that second semester of the government class is transcribed as an elective. All right, let me think. Did I miss any senior specific requirements, team?
I think you covered it.
Did I cover it? All right.
Someone
Sorry,
mentioned
Beth.
just the study skills issue, that we don't let students forecast for study skills. Students who have IEPs are automatically assigned a study skills class. And so we had some students who were concerned that they couldn't choose it as an elective, but just to reassure everyone that if your student does have an IEP, they will get a study skills as one of their electives.
Absolutely. All right, we just have a few more slides. We want to kind of close with this reminder for you all out there. It's been a really unusual year. We're looking forward to getting busier and to getting, more connected and more involved. But we always remind our students who sometimes, eyes are bigger than, than what's on their plate, to think about balance. And really, as the adults in their lives, we're part of coaching and guiding them with that balance. So, if your student has a job and this job is really meaningful and important to them and they're learning a lot of good life job skills, we need to make sure that maybe they're not taking 3 AP classes. If they're really involved in sports, if they work on their car, if they want to work on their car 4 hours a day, again, we need to kind of balance how much coursework, obviously we need to meet graduation requirements, but we need to balance, again, that classwork with that out of class extracurricular kind of life, because those are also really important aspects of life and often have a great deal to do with our mental health. Next year is unusual in that the fall, we are going to be focusing a lot in our career and college class on making those plans, those post-secondary plans. And it's, honestly, not just time consuming, it's emotionally can be quite exhausting. You know, if you have a student who is thinking about, you know, going into the paramedic program over at RCC, awesome. But that whole process of thinking about making a decision as to what you're going to do after high school can be stressful. And the reason being is that your student has gone through, by that time, 13 years of mandatory education. They haven't had choice. You know, they've had increasing choice around their classes, but they have not determined the next giant step of their life at any of those points. So this is a big, weighty transition year where for the first time, it's kind of an open horizon and they're making decisions with you as to what are the next best steps. So do keep that in mind too. Senioritis is a real thing. We get kids who push real hard and then really fade out. They're just worn out. So we want to make sure, again, we're thinking about that balance. All right, Maurice.
Could I just, there's a few questions that might be appropriate to kind of throw in right now. So someone said that their student didn't see the college career class. And so that's required for everyone. So it was at the top of the senior form that you didn't get to see. And so they didn't get to select it as something that they'll take. One of the other questions was about outs and how many outs seniors can take, which you would have addressed if you had shown the senior ones. The question was, do seniors have to take 7 classes if they only need 5? So
Yeah.
Answer that.
Maurice, I think Maurice will answer that question.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Oh, okay. Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just going over some questions students may still have. Can seniors take out or take more than 1 out, which was just addressed, but I'll go over it again. Yes, talk to your counselor. In all honesty, we don't know if it's going to be an 8-period schedule or 7-period schedule next year. So that's kind of why we say talk to your counselor. So we'll go ahead and talk to your student about what's best for them as far as their schedule is concerned, once we determine how many periods there are. 2, how many classes should senior forecast for? Regardless of how many outs they might take, just go ahead and forecast for all 6 classes per semester, and then we can drop it later. Do advanced placement classes earn more credit? No, it's not a credit accruement, it's a GPA accruement. So they get a higher grade point average like we discussed earlier. Are there other classes I can take at Ashland High School that will earn college credit? Yes, the other terminology is called dual credit. That's also in the course catalog. It's outlined the process and 2 websites, one for RCC and one for SOU, I believe, that they can look at too. And I think there's also 2 tables with the list of courses. I think we went over that earlier. Can I take something like, for example, cinema twice? Yes, if you look at the course catalog and it says repeatable course, you can take it more than once for credit. Does driver's ed count for elective credit? Yes, it does. As soon as they're completed with the course, they get a certificate of completion. You can take it to the main office and get an elective credit for that, 1 credit. Can I sign up for a TA or teacher's assistant? No, not at the moment. When they're doing their forecasting, it's not an option. It's a process. When school starts, they get an application, give it to the teacher that they're interested in working for. And once the teacher approves, the counselor will put it in their schedule.
There's a question that would be great for you all to address. It was, are we forecasting for 6 or 8 classes next year, or I'll add maybe 7. So go ahead and maybe one of you can take that as.
We are forecasting in a traditional way right now for sophomores, juniors taking a mandated 7, and seniors signing up for 6, being able to take 7 if they'd like, and also being able to modify their schedule and drop a class or 2 depending on their graduation requirements. So seniors have flexibility, is kind of the short answer there. And depending on kind of whether we're on a 7, it's not going to have a big impact on seniors, whether we're on a 7-period or an 8-period schedule. We do want to remind seniors, even if they've met their graduation requirements, legally to be a full-time student, which you have to be, or else you have to become a homeschooled student, you have to take a 50% of the schedule, which would be a minimum of 4 classes if we're on an 8-period schedule. And you have to take 5 classes to be able to participate in a sport. So there we go. Brianna, you want to wrap us up?
Yes. Obviously we've covered a lot of information and there's a lot of details. So if your students still have additional questions, the good news is there are a lot of resources out there. So the catalog, talking to their classmates, maybe upperclassmen who have taken specific courses that they're interested in, talking to their friends, using, their parents as a resource and helping guide that conversation and think about what their future looks like, what they're wanting to do, what their plans are. And then also, as counselors, we are happy to meet with your student and they can meet with us during our office hours or, email or give us a call and we can schedule a time to meet with them and also to meet with the family also, if that's helpful. So do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I believe there was a question about summer school.
Oh, there was.
I'm trying to find it.
I think we're going to have a much more robust summer school this year, as you might imagine. And I did just notice that our district is hiring for a summer school administrator, which is brand new. We've never had something like that, which means we actually need somebody to oversee, again, a more, a larger program. So we don't have details at this point. Traditionally, summer school has only served students who have failed classes. And so it's for students who are earning a failed class back. I don't know if that's going to change this year or not, but we'll definitely be communicating about that. Jen, I was thinking maybe you should share the link to all of the upcoming information night series. I know that in May, we're going to have a community college night, a 4-year college night. We have a real breadth of information series coming up, and it would be awesome for juniors especially.
So this link will take you to the College and Career Center homepage, and you'll see a tab that's called Juniors College and Career Center Spring Update that has information on a lot of the different info sessions that Diane mentioned and ACT and SAT updates. There's links to the AHS College Handbook, which is a great source of information. And also I want to put in there the link to the college visits and info session calendar and make a plug for that. Usually every spring, it didn't paste, did it? So every spring, we have lots of colleges that come and visit the campus as in the fall. They've been virtual visits this year, but one of the big things we have every spring is the Oregon Public Universities do a tour where they go around the state and brings all of their reps to our high school, and all of our juniors are excused to go to the theater and learn about all the Oregon State universities and then go to breakout sessions. That's virtual this year. And if you click on the college visits and info sessions calendar, you'll find when those sessions are happening. I think it's April 6th and 7th, or maybe 7th and 8th. There's also other college visits on there, virtual fairs your student can check out, which I think are great ways for students who are looking at colleges a little farther than Oregon to kind of look at some of the liberal arts schools that are out there, learn about some schools they might not know about and what's offered. So check out the resources on that page and come to some of the info sessions. We're having a financial aid 101 info session on April 14th. I think that's the next one coming up.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing. If anybody who's around even wants to unmute and ask a question, that would be fine. We can hang out for another few minutes and answer as best we can. If there's anything that anybody has on their mind.
Do you want to stop recording and then?
Oh yeah,